show you our driveway garden. Our first bed is our smallest bed. It's 1 foot by 2 feet. This is our Italian zucchini, and this was an experiment that went completely awry. I was trying to get the cosmic purple carrots that we got as a free seed from Baker Creek to go to seed so that we could grow it again. The kids really enjoyed it, and I thought it would be great. So it's been there almost 2 years.
Yeah, I think it's been about 2 years.
Yeah, it's 2 years and nothing going. So I did some research and I found out that one of the farmers in India, so that in our zone, again, we're zone 11B, it doesn't get cold enough for the for the carrots to go to actual seed, and that he has a new, not a new process, but he had an experiment that he was successfully able to get his carrots to go to seed by basically doing a cold stratification. So what he would do is he would plant the carrots in a container, a small 1-gallon pot type of thing, and then it would go into a refrigerator or cold. It just had to go basically at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe 40 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 or 4 weeks, and then it would go back out to the outside, and then it would go to seed the following summer like a regular carrot. Since in zone 11 we don't get lower than 30 as an lower than 40 as an average, it makes it a little more difficult for us to get some things to go to seed. So I've kind of just left it and forgotten it, which is why we've gotten so many weeds and things that have hung out. So you'll see this side where I put the zucchini is a little better off. Lots of mulch, again, with our leaf mulch and everything. A lot of our soil building is from actual leaf mulch that we mulch ourselves and put it through the compost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of all of that. And I'm thinking that I'm going to put some flowers or something to attract some more butterflies, some more, something pretty. So this is the first carrot. And as you can see, after 2 years in the ground, it's looking quite gross. So this looks like the cosmic purple carrot, but it's kind of bloated and...
Looks like it's several carrots grown together with several carrot tops.
I don't know, because I planted only the one, so I don't really get how that happened. But whatever, it's enough bugs, I'm going to give it to the quail. And then I'm going to take the next one, dump that over there. Let's see how this one did. This one also is really weird and bloated looking.
Let me brush off some of the dirt.
Yeah. I don't really know. I mean, it's definitely a carrot, but...
No idea what that is on the top of it.
Yeah. It just... I think it's kind of... It smells really nice, though. Like, it smells edible. But I don't...
This is what happens when your carrot grows for...
2 years.
Yeah, it's a 2-year-old carrot. Just keeps on growing.
So yeah, I'm a little weirded out by the hard callus thing that's going on there, and the little...
Well, that's just more carrot.
Yeah.
The carrot's a root, so you just have more roots.
And so yeah, I'll take my little spade and some gardening tools, and I'll get rid of some stuff. And then we get to choose what flowers I'm going to get for this space. Beds 2 and 3 are a little larger at 4 feet by 3 feet. Right next to the zucchini box is where we planted our Enchilium red garlic. As you can see, in zone 11, in the southern zones, I know, we plant ours the first week of November-ish, and it's now April, so we've got another month or so, I think, before it's actually ready. We also have a couple of onion bulbs. Now, these were from the local greenhouse, so I have no idea what kind of variety. There's no real specialty. There's nothing special really about them. We had a hard time starting from seed, and it's something that I struggle with right now as a gardener. So this year I decided to buy some local bulbs. And they're great. I have a few weeds in there too on that side. Some of the bulbs didn't take, and some of the bulbs seem to have split. So if there's any tips on that, I would love to hear. We have also shaded in this corner our licorice basil. This is our second planting of licorice basil. I normally plant my first bit in the fall garden, and then I start with another one right after March, around March. And so these are about 30 days old or so. I started them from seed in February, and then they came out in March. So they've been out, and I think they're a little stunted because of these guys, which are my broccoli. This is the first time that I've tried to grow broccoli in the spring. Normally we overwinter broccoli, and it's actually done really well. These two have gotten the best, but I'm getting a little bug pressure, which you'll see right here. And so what I'm going to do with this one is I'm actually just going to snap off this entire leaf, and I'm going to give it to the quail.
Getting all the treats today.
Yeah, they get all the treats from the garden. And so I'm going to snap off this leaf too. Hold that one for me if you can. Give that to my cameraman. Ooh, there's a lot of them. And I can see
to run away.
I can see I'm going to have to keep coming back. Because the rest of the leaves I don't want to snap off. I want them to be doing their job and photosynthesizing more energy for the plant. Our rain gauge, this bed had kind of gotten beaten up by some of the neighborhood kids. They play soccer on the sidewalk. As you can see, we're right on the street. We've turned our driveway into a growing area. Don't show the cars and stuff. And so sometimes balls fly over from the kids, and it just seems to have crushed a lot of things. Okay, so the last bit of our first row on our driveway garden, I guess that's what we should call it, is where I normally harden off my plants. So when I start them under a grow lamp and then I bring them out, I have like this pallet set up so that I can basically transition them. So it's really hot here sometimes, and the sun's kind of punishing. So what I do is I start them in the back closest to the wall because they get the least amount of sun, and then I slowly bring them closer so that they're at full sun, and then the container is placed wherever I'm going to put it in our greater garden area. So that way we have a slow acclimation to the south-facing garden. So right here we've got some Roma tomatoes. The cilantro's been there for a while. It actually likes the
mostly shade.
Yeah, so we've been leaving it there. It's about time to mulch that, so you'll see that in a later video. And this is our last German Johnson that basically I haven't been too happy with him. Go ahead and get this out too. So he's been kind of left behind. All the rest of the other ones have been put into the main bed, which I will show in a different video. So I just kind of pull up the root, the stuff,
Weeds.
But I've been upset with the way he's been growing, and so what I found is that I have to stake them. So this is a 1-gallon cloth pot that allows us basically to pot up for the last bit. After they come out of the small seedling cups, they go into here, and then they stay here until it's about time for them to take their place in the garden. So I think I'm going to add some more dirt to this and then move some stuff. So that is the first row. So this is our raised bed that's in our driveway garden. It's our main bed. It is 4 feet wide by 12 feet long, and I've basically divided the square feet into 3 sections. I know 4 square feet, 3 sections doesn't really make sense, but it does when you want to include a little extra space for leaving things to go to seed, and also I put in little bits and pieces, radishes I hide here, sometimes I put in flowers, and we're right now coming out of winter. It's pretty warm outside right now, and we've just started putting in our tomatoes. So this is the last of the Brussels sprouts, and this is the last of our radishes. We've just put in the turnips around our tomatoes. We're getting a little bit of predator pressure. Something's climbing into the garden, and I mentioned that more in the video. If you click to the corner there, you'll be able to see more about that. These are German Johnson tomatoes, so the idea that we're going to have is that they're going to be trellising. So you'll notice that right now we have 2 bars on either end, and we tried 2 different trellises this spring. The first one is just a simple string trellis, and that was for our dwarf peas, and they're now out. And all that's left is our Wando pole pea variety, and a second type of string, which I will link in the comment, that I got on Amazon for just a couple of dollars. Both of them we found to not be up to snuff for our larger things. Our tomatoes seem to be okay on the bigger one and less on this one, even the dwarf tomatoes, but the pumpkins for sure killed all of that, and you'll notice that even the peas have able to basically sink it all down and defeat the purpose of trellising it. So in this first row, we're growing our tomatoes for the spring. So these are all German Johnsons. We started them in seeds inside. They hardened off in the hardening off section, and then we're just continuing on. Now we're going to stop at this last one for a little while, because you'll notice that this sad little guy is producing our last pumpkin, and we're saving this pumpkin for seed. It should be done in a couple of weeks, but in the meantime I'm not going to put something in the shady spot that is there. Plus I want to be able to clear it all out and put some more compost and things down. The rest of row 2 is the last of our brassicas. We've got one cauliflower that I don't think is going to make it. I think that might be a Brussels sprout.
Either way, it might just be yummy brassica leaves.
Yeah, I'll probably make some veggie broth or something with it.
I think we have a weed growing behind it.
Yeah. This is our last cauliflower. We succession planted it, and this is the last one. Yeah, this is the one where the kids helped. So I'm hoping
they made sure we didn't forget any of the garden tags.
Yeah, they took all of them. So the funny story with this is my experiment is I thought that if they were under cover a little bit that they'd last. Normally we don't have brassicas in Israel after I time them so they finished after February. Yeah, and this year I decided I wanted to see if I can get them through mid-April, because we've been having milder springs lately, and getting partial shade from the third row. I thought maybe if we put them in the center, I'd have a little more time. So that's the last of the cauliflower. The rest of the cauliflowers are gone and eaten. But Brussels sprouts take a little while longer, and we've just clipped all the leaves on that to give them some more room for the Brussels sprouts. We've got our Toscano kale, which has been doing really well. Let me see, and like I said, the last one. So these are beets. This was our first time growing beets, and we planted them 4 to a square foot, and I would not do that again next year if I want actual beets. What we found though was that the only person in the family that loved beets is Ephraim. The rest of us like beet greens, beet green chips, beet green salad, beet green in your omelets. So I'd consider next year growing beets solely for the greens. But
yeah, quite a bit of beet greens left.
Yeah, I mean, we still pick them every now and then to put them in salads and things. Making up the last of this row is our subarctic tomato. It's called the subarctic plenty. And what we liked about this tomato is that because it's used to cold temperatures, we actually overwintered this tomato, and it's been going for a while now. So you'll see it still has some tomatoes, but it's actually kind of calming down. It's not really producing as much as it was before. So I was experimenting with it this year to see how did it feel to have an overwinter tomato, and it did. It was good for fresh eating. It wasn't enough for canning or anything like that, but it was enough for fresh eating, and you can see it's still relatively going strong.
It's pretty happy.
It's still pretty happy. It didn't grow that tall like our Atkinson tomatoes do in the spring, but this year I'd grow it again next summer so I can have more fresh.
Next summer or next winter?
So that I can have more fresh tomatoes. And we already said this is the Dickinson pumpkin. This pumpkin, because I forgot to tell you the variety. And it's the last one of the season. We're just waiting for it to come through. And then we'll go ahead and salvage it for seeds and eat it and all of that. Thank you for stopping by our little piece of promised land. Please feel free to like and subscribe and comment below. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.